The latest polls make it clear, and the public outcry makes it clear too. Overreaching on immigration is not only a moral loser, it's a political loser for Trump so far. And protests over that overreach are spreading nationwide. No Kings rallies are planned in all 50 states this Saturday and are expected to be massive. But these protests are spreading across the country tonight. This is the scene in San Antonio, Texas right now. Hundreds of people holding signs, playing music, cheering and chanting, peacefully protesting ICE raids in their community. In response to organizers planning that San Antonio rally, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that he would deploy the National Guard to target anti-ICE protests across the Lone Star State. And joining us now is Texas Congressman Greg Casar. He's also the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. So we're showing photos. This is essentially part of your district.
No, I'm texting with people there
who were there right now. Well, first of all, I just described it as peaceful. It looked very peaceful. What are they telling you, people you're texting with on the ground?
Yeah, independent journalists right there are describing these peaceful protests where we just had protests in San Antonio just a couple days ago. Same thing. Hundreds of people. Zero incident, but people like Donald Trump and Governor Abbott are actually trying to escalate the situation, right? They're trying to light the fire, pour gasoline on it. Everybody else gets burned, and they try to blame Democrats for it. We need to make it very clear that it's people like Greg Abbott and Donald Trump that should own any chaos by their escalating of tensions, not Democrats or not people trying to defend the civil rights of people in their community.
The difference here, not to scare people from Texas who are watching, but they're probably firm stock. Governor Newsom is trying to protect the people in his state. I mean, he doesn't want it to be militarized. He doesn't want the National Guard to be intervening in these protests. That's sort of the opposite of the governor of Texas.
Right. In Texas, you have the president and the governor separating families just at a rate like we've never seen before. And then when people go out and do what anybody would do, protest people in your community being terrified, or even worse, people from your community being taken away unjustly, when they go out there and protest, we have a governor that I think sincerely wants to see someone get hurt so that then he can act like a strong man to come in and save the day, when really it's people like the governor that are stoking up this kind of division. They thrive on this chaos and on division, and we have to be able to go out there and say, no, we should keep everyone safe, including people that want to express their First Amendment rights.
What do you I mean, the thing is that for people who organize protests or are a big part of it, they want them to be peaceful because that makes a successful protest. What do you tell people who are calling your office, who may be scared about whether they'll be safe, don't know what to do, or fearful for themselves or their neighbors with these ICE raids?
Look, Donald Trump does not want people to hear about what he's really doing on immigration, because it is incredibly unpopular, including with people in Texas that voted for Donald Trump, for kids' hands to be zip-tied together in a San Antonio courthouse. Because it might be an immigrant kid today, but then it very well could be your neighbor's kid, a U.S. citizen kid, tomorrow. And so this is incredibly unpopular. And when folks are asking about, should I go out there and protest peacefully, look, it's a long-held American tradition, and it oftentimes is the people of the United States that have made injustice public, even when the leaders of our country want to hide it. And so really, as an elected official, I can speak out, but it means even more when it's your neighbor talking to your neighbor, or somebody from work that says, hey, we're going to go out there and make our voices heard in what could be a scary time.
Mm-hmm. You were watching what ICE is doing is scary. I mean, it's horrifying, and what we're seeing in LA and other communities. You were kind of on the early ends in 2018 of calling for the abolishment of ICE. You said recently, I think, that you kind of changed your position. But what do you think now about what should happen here with the future of ICE as they're being militarized by this administration?
The abuse is out of control. I think that we can all agree, kind of wherever it is you fall on the spectrum here in the Democratic Party, that this is just unacceptable. And what we're seeing now is that Donald Trump has gone so extreme that this isn't now just about immigrant rights. This is about the rights of everyone, including the rights of kids. I mean, let's just start with the kids. In Texas, an 8-year-old recovering from brain cancer was deported and separated from the medical care that she needed. We have ICE officers showing up at our school districts, pretending that they're coming to check in on kids with parental consent, and their parents have not given consent, and their teachers are having to ask for warrants. In my district, as we just described, there are photographs of kids with their hands zip tied together. And so this is no longer just an immigrants' rights issue. It's an issue about protecting the rights of all Americans. And I think that connects to our need to reform these federal agencies to make sure that they actually follow the Constitution and basic rights. So I think we kind of have gone beyond the 2017, 2018 moment to one where everyone's rights are at stake. I mean, look, you don't have to be an immigrants' rights voter to recognize that it's really scary for the President of the United States to take the Marines that are supposed to be protecting us in war and sending them for political purposes into our American cities. That's not what those Marines are trained for, and it's not what they want to do.